Example 1, solve for x, or solve for the indicated variable. So if I'm taking a look at this diagram, I have two intersecting lines. I don't know if they're parallel. Well, they're not parallel, they touch. I don't know if they're perpendicular. All I know is that I have the angle up here and the angle down here. If I look at that, those are vertical angles. They're across from each other on intersecting lines. If I look at my vertical angles theorem, I know that those are congruent. So we're not proving anything here, we're just solving. So I'm going to say, okay, then I know that 3x equals 2x plus 40. We're going to solve, so subtract 2x, x equals 40, and we're done. Now, what if I were to actually ask you, what is the measure of this angle? Okay, x is 40, but what's the angle? So we would take 3 times 40, which is 120 degrees. So if this angle is 120 degrees, then what's this angle? Well, they're vertical, we know they're the same. So we know it's also 120 degrees. Number 2, here we have an x and a y. There's a couple ways to do this, okay? First of all, I usually see vertical angles first. So 2x and 76 are vertical. So I'm going to say 2x equals 76. Then I'm going to divide by 2. So 76 divided by 2 is 38. So I know x is 38. Now, in order to find y, I know this is 76. I know this is 2 times 38, which is also 76. But now I need to find y. Well, look really carefully at this line. Then I want you to kind of like cover up this half over here. Don't look at this, just look over here. And you notice that 76 and y are a linear pair. So if these guys are a linear pair, that means they're going to add to 180. So I know y plus 76 has to be 180 degrees. If we solve that, we're going to subtract 76, which is going to give us what, like 104? So if y is 104, then I know this is 104. And if this is 104, then I know this is 104 because vertical angles are equal. Example 3, solve for x. Once again, x plus 10, 4x minus 35, vertical angle theorem. So x plus 10 equals 4x minus 35. I'm going to subtract x. 10 equals 3x minus 35. I'm going to add 35. So 45 equals 3x. I'm going to divide by 3. So 15 equals x. So I know what x is. If I were to ask you for the measure of the angles, I would have to substitute back in. Now, does it look easier to substitute back in here or back in here? And to me, it looks way easier to substitute back in here. So 15 plus 10 is 25. So I know this angle is 25 degrees, which means if I asked you for this angle, also 25 degrees. Okay, here we have to find x and y. Take a minute, pause your video, see how you do. I'm going to start with vertical angles. So I'm going to say 3x plus 8 equals 5x minus 20. Vertical angles theorem, vertical angles are congruent. I'm going to solve this by subtracting 3x. 8 equals 2x minus 20. I'm going to subtract 2x. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to subtract 2x. I'm going to add 20. So 28 equals 2x. Then I'm going to divide by 2. So 14 equals x. Okay, that's our first variable. Now I know 14 equals x, but I still have a y down here, and we can't have that y. So I'm going to do a couple things. If 14 equals x, I'm going to substitute that back in. So I'm first going to take 3 times 14 plus 8. Okay, which is 50. So I know this angle is 50 degrees, which means I also know that this angle is 50 degrees. But I need to find this one. So at this point, and I don't know this, so I don't know the vertical angle, but I do know the linear pair or the adjacent angle. So now I'm going to look at this line. Okay, this line is a linear pair or is an adjacent angle. Okay, so two angles on a line, so this one and this one, add to 180 degrees. So I know this guy plus this guy is 180. Okay, well, if this guy's 50, and I know they have to add to 180, then what does this have to be? And the answer there is, okay, well, then this guy has to be 130. Because 130 plus 50 is 180. So now I know that 5x plus 4y is 130. Still trying to solve for y, but I do know x is 14. So 5 times 14 plus 4y equals 130. We're going to use substitution, and then we're going to solve. So 5 times 14 is 70, plus 4y is 130. Then I'm going to subtract 70, which is 60. So 4y equals 60. Then I'm going to divide by 4. And y equals 15. Okay, so now we know x is 14, y is 15, this is 50, this is 50, this is 130. So then this must also be 130 because they're vertical angles, and we have everything figured out. Number 5. Take a second. On this one, we have to figure out the measure of angle 1, the measure of angle 2, and the measure of angle 3. If I take a look at angle 1 is formed between here and here. Do you notice that this guy and this guy are vertical angles? So angle 1 must be the same as this, which is marked as 90 degrees. Angle 2 is between here and here. Well, did you notice this guy and this guy are vertical angles? So then angle 2 must equal angle or 50, so 50. And then angle 3, do you notice that this guy and this guy are vertical angles? So measure of angle 3 must be 40.